Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to really uh, unpack a foundational story from your source material, the first plague, Nile to blood.
Hmm,
We're aiming to go beyond just the surface details, to understand the profound impact and the deeper meaning of this powerful, transformative event.
that's right. And this deep dive, it isn't just about the what happened, but crucially, why it happened and what it really revealed about power, about deeply held beliefs, and maybe divine purpose in a way that would, well, shake an entire civilization right to its core.
Okay, let's get into it. When we talk about ancient Egypt, the Nile River wasn't just, well, a river, was it?
Oh, absolutely not.
It
No.
was everything. Their entire civilization really revolved around agriculture, trade, the whole rhythm of daily life.
Hmm.
It was so central, so vital, they even saw it as a god, right? The giver of life.
Exactly. The god of the inundation, life itself.
So when your source describes the Nile turning to blood, that's clearly not a random act. It's hitting them where it hurts most.
Absolutely not random. What the source vividly illustrates, I think, is that this was a laser-focused, direct hit. This wasn't just some broad punishment for Pharaoh. It was a dramatic, pretty undeniable demonstration of the powerlessness of Egypt's gods, starting with the one they revered most, the very lifeblood of their nation. It's a complete subversion of their whole worldview.
And the scene itself described, it's incredibly potent. Moses and Aaron, right by the river, morning time, stretching out the staff. What happened next for the Egyptians must have been just an absolute nightmare unfolding in real time.
Precisely. Just imagine the instantaneous horror. The Nile, which they literally called life, their source of security, of sustenance, it instantaneously became undrinkable death. The text is stark. Fish died, the water became putrid, it stank,
Uh-huh.
and even water they'd already stored, in pots and jars inside their homes turned this horrifying red. Their deep, generations-long trust in the Nile, their most sacred, most reliable entity, it was just shattered in a moment.
Shattered. And it wasn't just a fleeting moment either, was it? The source makes a point about how long this lasted.
Exactly right.
Oh.
7 agonizing days. This wasn't just a shock. It was this relentless, inescapable nightmare. People were digging frantically near the riverbanks, desperate for any clean water, but everything. Every drop, every stored bucket, every reservoir, it was all contaminated.
Wow.
The sheer helplessness, the smell, the visible death of their lifeline, it would have been a massive psychological blow, too, not just physical. There was just no escape, no alternative.
And Pharaoh, after seeing all this devastation firsthand,
Hmm.
the source just says he hardened his heart. It's almost unbelievable, right? No remorse, no second thoughts, apparently. He just walks back to his palace completely unchanged.
Yeah.
What do you make of that resistance?
It points to an incredible stubbornness, doesn't it? A refusal to acknowledge what's right in front of him, even when it's overwhelming. And this is where his magicians come in, which is fascinating. The text shows them trying to copy the miracle.
Right, they try to replicate it.
They could turn water into blood. But here's the crucial bit. They couldn't reverse it. They couldn't fix it.
So they could only add to the problem.
Exactly. They could only add to the destruction already plaguing Egypt. They couldn't bring relief.
So it wasn't just a trick then. It kind of exposed a difference in the kind of power at play.
Precisely. It highlights that imitation isn't real authority. It's not true power. It was a weak, totally ineffective attempt to distract from what was actually happening. They could mimic the symptom, maybe, but not control the source, or importantly, fix the suffering. It just underlined their inability to genuinely deal with this force.
Okay, so taking this step back then, what does this first plague really signify? It wasn't just chaos, like you said. It felt incredibly precise.
It was precision. This plague was a clear, unambiguous statement. It declared that no matter Egypt's military might, or how rich their soil was, or how abundant their revered river flowed, God alone is Lord. He was fundamentally challenging their whole belief structure, showing their gods were powerless and their source of life depended entirely on his will.
And this was just the opening act, really, the first domino. The first thing Egypt trusted most, the very foundation, was the first thing to fall.
The core takeaway seems pretty clear. God doesn't seem to waste power on just theatrics here. Every act has this profound, specific purpose. This plague was a powerful, unshakable declaration aimed right at Egypt. Your gods, not real. Your river, not your ultimate source. I am.
And maybe the most unsettling thought, the one for you listening to ponder, as the source points out. Miracles alone won't change someone who stubbornly refuses to listen. What does that tell us about human will, about belief, and that baffling choice to stay unmoved, even when faced with the undeniable?